This is one of my filterless cherry shrimp tanks. The substrate consists of around half an inch of regular topsoil as the nutrient layer, which is then capped with a full inch of 2mm gravel. All of the filtration is handled by the plants, which process toxic nitrogen compounds and potentially toxic dissolved solid ions. The tank is heated to 23 degrees Celsius or 73 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent the plants from going dormant, and it's currently lit with a Chhiros A2 light, but I wouldn't recommend this specific light for this type of tank. In my opinion, a far more affordable and reliable option for a filterless low-tech tank would be the Ciora SR616. For the first 3 months I've been running a small USB power pump to help with water circulation, but because the tank is stable now, it will be coming off soon. This video marks the 3-month update, and I link to the playlist for this tank in the description, which includes the setup and the month 2 update. So I want to start with shrimp breeding because there is a lot of babies in this tank right now. I actually spotted the first baby last month when I was editing the B-roll for the end of the month 2 update, because there was a single tiny little baby cherry shrimp grazing on the algae on the tank glass. Since then, over the last few weeks, several females have released their batches of babies, and now there's a tiny little swarm of baby cherry shrimp in the tank. With this tank only being 25 litres or around 6.6 US gallons, I will be moving some of those into other tanks to prevent overcrowding, especially since there's at least 2 more females in here carrying eggs already. But it is always nice when a new colony starts breeding in a fresh tank, because it's confirmation that they are happy in their environment and the colony is moving forward. Moving on to the general shrimp health, and there's been 3 occasions in the last month where a large number of the shrimp suddenly start swimming around erratically. If this was just the adults, I wouldn't be too worried, because this can be a common thing that happens when a female molts and releases her breeding pheromones and the males swim erratically to try and find her and breed. But in this case, the shrimp of all ages, even the tiny babies, have been doing it. My first thought was that the heater might be the issue, because I have had problems with that brand of heater before. But I have since switched the heater for a Hygge Nano heater, and I've seen the behaviour happen once since then. None of my test kits can detect any problem with the water parameters, so it seems like there's something briefly initiating this erratic behaviour for a couple of hours before everything goes back to normal. As I mentioned earlier, the USB water pump is being removed soon, but I really don't think that that's a culprit, so it is a little bit of a puzzle. Moving on to plant growth, and things are really starting to come alive in the tank now, and I leave a full plant list in the video description. The Hygrophila siamensis 53B has finally started to put some growth in, and it will need a trim soon. But the real powerhouse of the natural filtration in this tank is the Limnophila sessiliflora, which is behind the Hygrophila, and it's needed to be trimmed twice in the last month. My Rotala H'Ra is also picking up its growth rate, and as you can see, it's also starting to develop those beautiful red to orange hues, which I hope intensify over the coming months. Meanwhile, the Marcellia Hisutra carpetum plant has begun to spread, and I am optimistic and hope that it won't take long before the full foreground is covered. The other plants in here do seem to be doing well too, but they are more of a slow-growing species, so there's not much to report about them yet. Because the plants are the backbone of natural water purification with this type of tank, monitoring their health closely is important, because any problems need to be addressed quickly. Thankfully though, everything looks good so far, and I'm hoping for more of the same in the coming months. As I mentioned earlier, this tank is running a Chhiros A2 light, which is far more powerful than anything that I've used before. This has presented a few challenges for this tank, including heavier algae blooms than what I'm used to, but I do think I'm slowly getting things under control. Now, I do want to say that I do intentionally leave the side and back panel of this tank covered in algae, because it provides a natural food source for the baby shrimp to graze on. But that is optional, and if you don't like the look of it, you can scrape the algae off the back and side panels, but it will be limiting food for tiny baby shrimp. I have started experimenting with the Daily Light Integral or DLI method in a few of my tanks, including this one. That method involves reducing the light intensity of your light, but extending the photo period, aiming to maximise plant growth while minimising algae growth with more powerful lights like this one. The goal is to try and match the light saturation point for the plants in the tank and hold the light intensity there, so the majority of the photons are used up for plant growth and there's minimal photons left over for algae. An added benefit of the method is that the extended photo period with the lower intensity can still encourage anthocyanin development, which brings out those red and orange hues in plants like Rotala H'Ra. This tank currently has the Chihiros A2 light running at 30% intensity for 10 hours per day, but I might reduce that a little bit more soon. But at that setting, the far more affordable Seora SR616 may have been able to achieve similar results in their tank using the DLI method. I also want to quickly touch on houseplants grown on the rim of the tank with their roots in the water. Both of the Tradescantia purple Zebrina stems are doing really well, but the Monstera Adansonii is struggling. At first, I did think that this was due to a lack of nutrients in the water column, but I had a few people comment on one of my recent videos saying that they think it's actually a parasite issue. Now, the vast majority of my experience and knowledge with plants is with aquarium plants, so I really don't know much about what's wrong with this Monstera, so it could be the parasites, I'm really not sure. Now, I really like the look of the Tradescantia starting to wrap itself around the tank rim, but I do think I'm going to have to remove it at least for now. The main problem with Tradescantia is that it has an insanely fast growth rate, even faster than pothos in my experience, which means that it's pulling a lot of nutrients from the water that my submerged plants could be using. So by removing the Tradescantia and Monstera, I'm hoping to free up more nutrients, ideally for my Rotala H'Ra to grow taller and for my Monstera Adansonii to spread the carpet even quicker. There is another risk with Tradescantia as it gets larger in a shrimp tank because it may end up pulling out too much calcium and magnesium from the water column, preventing my shrimp from being able to mould correctly. I do have pots and topsoil ready to go, so the Tradescantia won't be going to waste, but I do think I might compost the Monstera if it does have some type of infection. Anyway guys, that brings the video to an end. I hope it's been helpful, thanks for watching and good luck with any filterless cherry shrimp tanks you try.